signing the contract to getting it in, it was about a week. Within a few weeks, they started to see results.
Who have joined us today. We have Kelly with us, and I am Sonakshi. I'm founder and CEO of Manifest AI. But today we are representing our very own community, which is called Roaring Ladies of E-commerce. If you guys haven't been a part of it, would love to have all of you. I'll share the link towards the end of session. But today, spotlight of the hour is Kelly. Welcome to this session, Kelly. So grateful to have you today.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Amazing. And guys, today we are going to discuss Kelly has been, and no words are, I would say, enough to justify what she has achieved. Her 20 plus years of experience, contribution towards e-commerce as an ecosystem. It's beyond words. So Kelly, over to you. Would love to hear in your own words, if you can share a little bit about yourself, and then we can begin the session.
Yeah, sure. How far do you want to go back? I started life in the UK. I'm now in Australia, and the sun is just coming up. I'm on literally the other side of the world. I started life in the UK, where I got my passion for technology. At the age of 8 years old, I'll give you a little bit of quick backstory. At the age of 8 years old, my dad had an accident at work. And as a result of that accident, my dad became housebound and I became his carer. And my dad being a very intelligent Nigerian man, he was a single father of 2 kids, but wasn't ready to just lie down, and very intelligent man. So he bought himself a computer. So at the age of 8, I used to sit and watch my dad typing on the computer, and it was back in the days of MS-DOS and the little green dot jumping across the screen. So at a very early age, I learned to understand code. I learned to understand, not that I like code, I hate coding myself. I learned to understand technology, but I learned to understand the power of technology and how it can connect people and create this leveling of the playing field. When I look back over my career and I look back particularly at my dad, I remember moments in my career where I've just been beside myself excited. We've built something, we're working on a project, and it's always been projects that have been about connecting with the customer and solving real customer problems. And that comes back to that moment in time when I realized that that computer for my dad connected him to the outside world. It solved a real problem for him. It kept his brain going. It allowed him to find information, research, build a company, run his own care system, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so as every good Nigerian father wants their daughter to be a doctor. I hated the sight of blood, so instead the only other field he would let me go into was technology. No worries. Someone just said that they had a customer emergency. Hope you get that sorted. So the only other field he would kind of, not argue with me too much about was technology. So I started a computer science degree. Gotta be honest, I hated coding, couldn't stand it. But looking back now, it was kind of the foundation of getting me into the world of technology. I went into a company called British Telecom, where I got to work on a project called Sainsbury's, the Store of the Future. And it's where I found my love for retail and technology put together. And again, it was all about the fact that I was trying to work out how were the end customers using this technology? Like what were the problems we could solve for them? I came to Australia. I ran the first mobile marketing agency in Australia, or one of the first mobile marketing agencies. So back in the days of ringtones and SMS campaigns. Yeah, you remember those?
Which
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
was it, Kelly? 2003.
Oh my goodness, that would have been 2003, maybe?
Yeah.
2003, yeah. Yeah. So, it's interesting though, watching the AI play out there are some similarities, although we're on, compared to mobile, it's exponential. There are some very similar things that are happening with government trying to catch up with legislation, everyone trying to work it out. Companies are making lots of money quite quickly out of tools that solve problems for people. I then, after that agency, in search of work-life balance, I went off. I've had my first child. Oh, excuse me. And I went off and set up my own company because I thought that would give me balance. We all know that's not true.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, I then started working with a company called Westfield, which is a major shopping centre. And one of the problems I found in shopping centres, particularly and in shopping, was that inability for people to find what they wanted and it to be personalized and it to be easy. So I built out an AI tool, which was back in 2000 and would have been about nearly 10 years ago now.
Right.
So before AI was a thing and it cost me an absolute fortune, took 2 years of my life, and it was way before its time. And it was one of my biggest failures, but biggest successes all at the same time.
Yeah.
I then went on to set up the Ecommerce Tribe, which is an organization that helps retailers grow online. And I work with multi-million-dollar global organizations, right down to butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers. And they're probably, my loves and my passions is the small to medium retailers. I really enjoy helping their growth journey. And we've seen some massive growth in the last year, especially using AI. So what I'm able to bring to that is really that AI lens and digital marketing in general. Yeah, and I also have a company called the Digital Inclusion Project, which is a charity, which is all about working with minorities and underrepresented groups to help them grow digitally and learn about things like AI technology.
This is amazing, Kelly. Like you are a wonder inside one single package, like everything
Oh, thank you.
contributing towards innovation, to being so inspiring, taking motivation from your father, and then deploying to everyone that you're interacting with today in terms of business, in terms of contribution towards society. This is so great to hear, Kelly. One question, immediately that got to my mind, because for me as well, my father has been the real motivation behind this entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Want to understand, Kelly, like when you started the journey, he was the inspiration, but what kept you going? Because you made it big year after year, you expanded your horizon, you started contributing in so many ways to the community. Tell us, what kept you going on and on all these years.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, one that I've never really thought about and never been asked. What kept me going? Mentors. So I've always had people around me that I've been very fortunate. I've always had people around me. I think about my first person in British Telecom was a strong female go-getter. She took absolutely no rubbish. She put pen through everything I did. She drove me insane. But she was a great mentor. She showed me the importance of structure, of process, because I am innovative and I'm flighty and I love shiny stuff. Um, she was great, and throughout my career, I've always had really strong and great mentors. I think that's probably what's kept me going. Curiosity has kept me going. And I just have a thirst for knowledge to learn more constantly, no matter what age. My dad was like that actually. My dad, just before he died, he had cancer, and he was in the hospital, and he was learning German. My dad was always learning. He was always learning something. So I think I've got that trait in me.
Yeah, you get that in your blood already.
Totally.
Amazing, Kelly. And I have tons of questions for you, but now I think it's time to begin our AMA. So, guys, everyone and anyone who joined after we introduced Kelly, welcome to Roaring Ladies of E-commerce session. We are going to talk about women-led leadership and also about how AI is going to impact e-commerce ecosystem in general. And today we have tons of questions. Each one of you have submitted the questions that you guys had. So I'll just go one by one. And beyond this, if you guys have any question, feel free to put it on chat. If we have additional time, we'll be happy to cover them as well. So let's begin, Kelly. So the first question comes from Gemma. She represents the company called Dashing Group. The first question.
Hi, Gemma. I know Gemma. She's an absolute rock star legend.
Oh, hi, Gemma. Nice to meet you. So the first question from her is, I'm really interested to understand more about how AI can work full circle for retailers, whether the customer walks into a physical store or opens up a store, I think online store, experience through their phone. That's the first question. Second is, what AI opportunities are out there for retailers to improve the CX no matter where the customer meets them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know if we're full circle yet. There's still what I'm seeing in AI is the promise is there, the hope is there, and we're very, very close to everything being connected and everything being integrated. But I'm not convinced we're at that kind of single point yet where a customer can have this seamless and it's been nirvana that we've been looking for years, that seamless experience where I jump online now, I find a product in my local mall, I walk in, they recognize me, they have the product, they recommend other products. With AI, they can personalize the experience, know what I've bought before. We're just so not there yet. However, what AI is allowing us to do is to build integrations across tools that historically were quite legacy systems that would have spent millions of dollars trying to connect the dots or just build our own systems using AI. So what I am seeing is much more seamless transition between offline and online, a much more seamless cohesion in terms of data, because that's the biggest issue, is that we've got these different data pools or data lakes, as they used to say at Lendlease, which always made me laugh. Data swamps, actually. They had all these little data pools, and trying to put them together and make this seamless journey was the tough bit. What I will say is, and this isn't a plug, but Manifest AI is one of those tools that is making that journey seamless. Definitely that ability to jump online, to really get an understanding of what products are right for you, to get a personalized journey based on natural language is working really well. The other things, there's tools out there like Flagship, which really kind of merchandise your store and help you kind of create Flagship AI, which help you create kind of journeys based on customers. But yeah, I don't think we've got an end-to-end piece yet, but I'm certainly seeing lots of tools out there that solve bits of the problem that I think this year we'll get to a point where we can connect them together.
Absolutely. This, Kelly, we believe this year is going to be all about AI agents and different problem statements as small as possible. For example, if it's a furniture store, then, for them, let's say warranty claims is one of the very big problems. So, deploying just an AI agent, which takes care of everything from taking the input from your customers to actually going out, understanding if they are eligible to claim a warranty or not, and then as well processing it. So it's going to
Yeah.
be an year of AI agents for sure.
Oh, totally. But the power comes, Sonakshi, in the at the moment. So I've been playing a lot with agents over the last couple of weeks. And if you haven't played with agents, I would urge you to spend your weekends, or not your weekends, but just spend some time having a look at them, understanding them. So I've been playing with agents, and as you said, you can have an agent that does your warranty. So we can build, you can build agents, or using Manifest, you can build agents to do warranties. You can build an agent to do kind of in-store clienteling, for instance. There's a product that does that called Wishlist. Where I think the power comes, and where I think, certainly Sam Altman is talking about happening this year, and all the noise is where these agents start to connect to each other. So you've got your warranty agent that is connected to your loyalty agent. So that understands that, even so someone's, I'll give you a real example. The other day I walked into Dyson, and I shouldn't really tell this, but anyway, my Dyson broke. The bottom half of it exploded. So I walked into Dyson the other day, and the guy was amazing. Like, their customer service is next level. And he was telling me how I can get it fixed, but I'm pretty sure it's out of warranty. Now, if he knew in that moment my previous history with Dyson, how many products I've purchased, you know, and he
Exactly.
was telling me some things about their warranty system. He could have given me a different experience. The experience was wonderful because their customer service, but could you say your loyal customers get an extra year's warranty? And I know you as a loyal customer, so I'm going to give you some extra service. I'm going to organise for it to be ordered to your home immediately because you've bought 4 products from us and spent a ridiculous amount of money. When those agents start to talk to each other, that's when I think retailers will just be able to just provide this beautiful customer service.
Yeah, such an interesting way to put this, Kelly. Like everyone becomes their own CDP. Or like now,
Mm.
engine doesn't lie in a single tool that you are using or putting on internet. Everything that you have deployed from in-store experience to online, everywhere, everyone understands a customer state individually. So that is going to
Yeah.
be very amazing.
We always talk about in retail this single source of truth.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I used to be quite fascinated by it, and I'm beginning to move away from it because I don't think there is a single source of truth. I think there are multiple agents that can come together with their own sources of truth, just like us humans have. Like, I can't give you a single view of everything that's going on in AI. I need your view. I need Joe Lee's view from Joe Lee's on, and he does cybersecurity. I need everyone's different views in order to create a complete picture. I don't think there is a single source of truth. Anyway, that's my rant. I'll stop.
Agree to that, Kelly. Yeah, coming to the next question, it's from Kennedy. She's asked, what was the most valuable thing you learned in your first role, Kelly, and how does this impact the work you do today?
Mm. This is an easy one, actually. I was talking about this the other day randomly. So, in my first role, I was tasked to create a suite of products which were highly, highly technical. And they had all the acronyms. Actually, it was Joe I was talking to about. It was voice over IP, it was frame stream, it was MSDX, like it was all these big technical words. And essentially, there were pipes that went into buildings that allowed people to connect. We came up with this concept because it was such a complex thing to buy. And you had, large companies and small companies. We came up with this concept, which was a bit like the a McDonald's kind of menu. It was a pick and mix menu. And we tried to make it as simple as possible. And that business grew phenomenally. It was one of the biggest growing businesses within BT Syncordia, within those first couple of years. It grew phenomenally. And I put that down to the fact that we overcomplicate technology. We make it very difficult for people to do business with us. And so the biggest lesson I learned in my early career, which has stood me in stead, was to simplify, just to really keep things simple, to try and think about what the customer needs, not what you're trying to sell from a technology point of view.
This makes so much sense. And from outside, when you said that, Kelly, it feels it's such a common sense. But actually, when you are out there in the field, you just get lost in cracks and you just
Mm,
drag. So makes a lot of sense, Kelly. Thanks for sharing. Next question is from Kelly from Cult Gaia. The first question from her is, how are AI personalized recommendation best utilized in the email marketing space? Second question from her is, many SaaS companies are using AI as a sales buzzword. That's true, actually. How do you
yeah.
evaluate an AI software effectiveness in such a saturated landscape?
Okay. All right, first question first. So, personalization. One of my favorite tools that I use is Klaviyo, and there's a lot of personalization and AI they're building into Klaviyo, which is awesome. Um, again, I don't think we're completely there with email yet. I've been testing out a few things recently around, we can personalize based on your product history. We can personalize based on your loyalty history. We can personalize based on your preferences and some predictions. So one of the things I love about Klaviyo is it does have predictive analytics. It can predict what I'm going to buy next and when I'm going to buy it. So things like that. I think personalization should be about understanding that it is my son's birthday in a few days, and then working out that he is going to turn 11 and what are the best things for an 11-year-old and what does he like and what's going to save me time. So one of the brands that I've been working with is a brand, it's a custom jewelry maker called Farina Chen. It's amazing. She does beautiful sustainable jewelry. One of the things she bases her designs on is the people's stories. So she makes engagement rings, for instance. She bases the designs on the people's stories. She's just built a tool which she used ChatGPT to do, which basically asks people about their partner. If you get the chance to look her up and have a look at it, it's a beautiful, beautiful tool. So it essentially asks me, it asks about my husband. It asks, what his passions were, where he liked to travel to. I then received this literally goosebump email back where it described Nick to a T. And it said, it talked about his travels to India when he was younger. He spent 3 months in India. It talked about him being this beautiful, colourful person that's connected, that likes colour, that likes diversity. It talked about the fact that he does a lot of sport and therefore he needs a ring that is and I'm gonna mess up on the words, but bezeled or something like that.
Okay.
That makes sure that it's not going to the jewels aren't going to come out when he's playing sport. And it was literally the email I got back just emotionally connected to me. And I think that's where the power of personalization comes into email, where we can start to tap into people's stories and talk back at them in their own language.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. In fact, with Manifest, what we do, Kelly, to support email journeys is, people come and chat on the AI chat, Manifest AI's chat on websites. So for example, if they, right, rightly you said, they come and ask, hey, it's my daughter's birthday, what do you recommend?
Mm.
Usually prefers pink. So we send this out as an intent to, let's say, Klaviyo, to Omnisend, saying that, okay, this XYZ customer has a daughter who's interested in pink color. Now you can use that as an information to create your journeys. Little bit of it, but not there yet. But definitely that's the way we are also thinking about personalization.
I love that. I didn't even know that that functionality existed. I knew you could talk in natural language, and I know when, I've played with it and asked it about presents and things like that, and that's such a beautiful, great functionality. But I didn't know you could then put that intent, transfer that intent into the likes of Klaviyo and be able to then segment based on intentions.
Right, right.
So when we built Shop You, it was an app with natural language. So I could say, I'm going to a 50-year-old's birthday party. I need a dress. And because it knew whether I like my arms or my legs or, what bits of my body I didn't want to show, because we had those intentions logged, it could then start to send me emails based on that. So it was a very rudimentary version of what you guys are doing.
Super interesting. You're a visionary, Kelly. You did this a decade ago. So
Oh,
kudos.
thank you.
Yeah, the
Oh,
second.
and the other question, the SaaS question. Okay, so I've worked on some huge multi-million dollar projects, and I've seen projects that have just gone off the rails because they haven't been scoped out properly, and they haven't really identified what problem it is they're trying to solve. So one of the things, and I'm happy to share this little template that I use with clients and on my own stuff as well. I've got an AI project planner, and I've based it on all of the technology builds that I've done over the years. And it's a little one-sheeter. I call it my white page. And essentially what it does is it's really, really simple. I describe who my customer is. So let's say, for instance, the SaaS platform you're looking at is Manifest.ai. So I describe who the customer is. So if I think about Icy Bear Dental, middle-aged woman, 25 to 45 actually, probably. Looking for teeth whitening, looking for beauty products. I then, what is their actual problem that they're trying to solve? So the problem is, it could be they're insecure about their looks. It could be that they want to improve their looks. So I think about the problem that they're trying to solve. And if this is I'm buying a SaaS product, it's exactly the same process. The customer's me. The problem I'm trying to solve is I need an AI tool that is going to provide, a chat functionality on my website that offers personalization. The problem I'm trying to solve is that when my customers come to the site, they ask questions and they can't get them answered and blah, 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 blah. The next thing I then go to is what is the impact if I solve that problem? Well, the impact on the business is I reduce the amount of customer inquiries coming in. The impact on the business is I free up my team to be more customer facing. And the impact on the business is I increase my conversion rates. The next thing I then do, which is the really key telling point, is the measurement. What are the numbers? So how much am I going to reduce the amount of time that's put into that? How much am I going to increase my conversion rate? So that in 6 months' time, when we've put this tool in, I can go back and look at those numbers and go, this actually works. But also when I'm having a conversation with a supplier or a SaaS platform about whether it's the right platform for me, if they can't answer my numbers question, my measurement question, then I shouldn't be working with them. And that's one thing I did love about your team, Sonakshi, when we were looking at Manifest AI. They came at it from a numbers perspective and working with, ad agencies. So I worked with a guy called Sam from Incubator. I'll never forget my first meeting with him. He walked into the room and he said, okay, well, what do you need to make? What's the conversion rate? What's the numbers? And I went, oh my God, no ad agency has ever walked into a room and done that. They normally talk about creative and, keywords and all the buzz stuff. So that's the next bit. And then only when I've done that do I then look at what's the ideal solution. So let me map out the ideal solution. Then I look at, are there any platforms out there that already provide this? Because you're always going to compromise. You always have these 100 features that you want that a platform can't do. And unless you want to spend $1 billion or $1 million building out everything yourself, you're going to have to sometimes make do with the best case scenarios. But if these can get you to your measurements and your impact goals, then it makes sense. And then the last piece for me, and only then do I start to look at technology. So
Absolutely.
I flip it on the head. A lot of teams that I've worked with in the past, when I walk into the room, they're looking at technology. I haven't done this piece over here at all, which is why a client that I was talking to a few weeks ago spent $500,000 on a project and had to throw it out the window because they realized they hadn't looked at the customer, the problem, the impact, or the measurement.
God, $500,000, Kelly.
Yeah, it hurts. It
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah. So what essentially you're saying is just don't go with the buzzword AI. You should actually first focus on which problem you are wanting to solve and then work backwards.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you get to the AI. And sometimes it might not even be AI,
Exactly.
which is
Yeah.
awesome. It might be a real person, a real human.
Yeah, possible, possible. Understand the problem statement, get to a solution.
Yeah.
Amazing, Kerry. Thanks for sharing this. This can actually literally be put in a funnel, pyramid funnel where you understand the problem and get to a solution. I'm going to do that
Mm.
right after this call.
There's a Stanford professor, and I can't remember his name. I'm going to have to Google. But there's a Stanford professor who talks about the jobs to be done. And it's such an interesting talk that he does on, he worked with something like Burger King and they were trying to work out, the sales of their milkshakes. And he said that's not the problem you're trying to solve. And when he drove through, he realized that the problem that they were solving for their customers that they needed to fill themselves up on the way to work for breakfast, which I'm not sure is healthy or not. But he really gets into that problem to be solved. It is, yes, the Clay Christensen methodology. Job to be done. Love it. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Joy, for sharing it. I'm gonna go and read it right after this call. Thanks, Kelly. And the next question comes from Laura, from Hacker Lily. The question is, if you were to recommend just three tactics for improving impact and effectiveness with AI, specifically for solo founders making 500K to $1 million currently, what would you focus on?
Okay, so first thing I would do, I mean, it's hard to kind of answer that without understanding your customer. So I can talk really general about some things that I'm using with my brands and retailers, but it is hard to understand that without understanding your customer and the problem you're trying to solve for them. But first thing I would be doing right now, which is what I work with a lot of clients on, is I would be testing out the different tools. There is not one tool for the job right now. I use Claude a lot for code and for ethical contracts. So in answer to your question of how do we quickly use it and grow, these tools are going to help you accelerate. So Claude, for instance, I'm using it for contracts, I'm using it for proposals. It's reduced my time when it comes to contracts, proposals, and those kind of heavy legally tasks. I'm not saying it replaces a legal advisor at all, but those things where you go through and have to read and understand something, it's reducing my time. A project that I worked on last year, which took me about 10 hours, took me about 30 minutes this year. So using the right tools for the job. So you've got things like Claude. Perplexity I use for research. I use it to research all the time because it gives me that live real-time insights. And then ChatGPT for content. So when it comes to ChatGPT, so number one is using the various tools for the right job. So playing with the main tools. Number two is really content production. So my brain's gone dead because I haven't had a coffee yet this morning. I'm waiting for my husband. I'm hoping he's awake and he's in the background somewhere grabbing me a coffee. But anyway, the second piece around content, Gary Vee talks about this. We need to be putting out 22 pieces of content. Well, he says you need to be putting out hundreds, but at least there's a stat that says you need to be putting out at least 22 pieces of content. In a small solo business, you don't have time to do that. You're servicing your clients, you're putting out content. So one of the biggest gains, as my 14-year-old would say, that I see with this is content creation. So in ChatGPT, I have created custom GPTs. I've created one for my email, which is primed and has got a whole knowledge base of all my emails that I've ever sent. It's not got all of them, but a lot of my emails that I've ever sent, so that anyone can go into there and basically write an email on my behalf in my voice. So for emails that are just really quick emails, someone can go in there and write an email that's written by me. Then you've got content production like social media. So custom GPTs do all for our brands that we work with, every retailer that joins the tribe, the Ecommerce Tribe, which is the education and mentoring program, they get their own custom GPT. That plans out all of their social media, email marketing, blogs, landing pages, and ads. And we do that on a monthly basis in roughly around about 2 hours.
Wow.
So they've gone from spending 2 to 3 days on planning their content to around about 2 hours. Now, I'll caveat that with we can't, there's a couple of gaps in it with pulling in things like images. So there is a manual piece of process that needs to happen afterwards. But you think about, your own thinking about what you're going to put on LinkedIn or thinking about what you're going to put on, that thought process is a long, painful process in itself, let alone actually then creating the content. So that's the second place that we're seeing massive gains. And SEO, we've seen people organically grow by about 400% last year using it for SEO, for creating blogs, product pages, collection pages. We're using it a lot for that. So number one is using the different tools for the right jobs to save you time on a daily basis. Number two is from a content perspective. And number three, I would say the biggest growth opportunity right now is in tools like Manifest AI. So actually customer-facing tools that are going to reduce the time you're spending on answering customer queries, but also increase conversion rate. And when I first found Manifest AI, it was actually one of my clients that sent it to me and said, have a look at this. What do you think? Do a bit of research and find out whether we should implement it or not. And so I had a look in and I thought, oh my God, this is so what I was trying to do 8 to 10 years ago, but a million times better. And so we put it in with the client. We put it in within, I would say, like a week. It went in. I think
Yeah.
from literally signing the contract to getting it in, it was about a week. Within a few weeks, they started to see results. One of the biggest results they've seen for them from a time perspective is they were spending around about 3 hours a day on customer service queries. So, the team were jumping online. They're a small, nimble team. Team were jumping online and answering customer support. And it's quite a complex product. It's teeth whitening. And I say it's a complex product. So there's lots of questions about how we use it, if it's right for crowns, and it's quite technical, more technical than you would probably think. They've reduced their time from 3 hours on those customer service calls to about 20 to 30 minutes a day. That's a massive, massive gain that they've made right there just from implementing this, amazing tool. So they're probably my three things. What are the customer facing tools you can look at that are going to reduce your time, increase your conversion rates? They also get a conversion rate of 6% off it. And it's the attributable revenue is insane. So what are the customer facing tools you can do to save you time internally and increase conversion rates? Secondly, where can you use it in content production? Biggest opportunity right now today. And then third one is looking at the various tools and using them for operational support functions. Does that answer the question? Was that valuable? Did that make sense? I like to rant about this stuff.
No, this was absolutely amazing. And the theme of all of these 3 pointers, which you said, Kelly, was increasing your personal time in life so that you can devote it back to strategies and where you can contribute your business towards growth in 2025. So makes
Totally.
a lot of sense, Gary. Moving on to next, how do you try? It's from Deanne from Victorian Woods. How do you drive profitable growth in a volatile online retail environment? What are the main channels you recommend focusing on? After this, we just have one question, Kelly, and we'll be done.
Awesome. Diane's actually one of my clients. Hi, Diane. So what are the main channels that I would be focusing on? So the two main channels that I focus on, that I lead with are my organic and my email marketing, which is why AI becomes such a weapon, going forward in 2025. Because if you think about it, they're your highest converting channels and should be. They're your most profitable channels. Obviously direct as well. And looking at, the website layouts and things like that. And we've worked a lot on that with Victorian Woods over the last year, which has been amazing. But the two areas that I think AI can add the most impact is in SEO, organic, and in email marketing. Now, from an SEO perspective, the ability to produce content at mass scale is, that's what AI does. That's its superpower. It can produce stuff at mass scale. What we have to do is get better at programming the AI and teaching it our voice, our language, and making it human and useful. Because if you go to AI, and that all comes down to prompt engineering. So if you go to AI now and go, write me a blog on the latest, and Victoria Woods is like one of the best fashion brands. It's just beautiful. If you get a chance to have a look it up. Um, if you go and have a look at, write me a blog on a black dress or the season trends or whatever, it's just going to be very, very beige. You're going to get very, and there's tools out there that will pick up that you're using AI and you won't get ranked in Google. However, if you um, train it in your voice, train it in your tone, train it in understanding what works for SEO, and what actually works for SEO is not just content, it's actually about useful information. So we shouldn't just be pumping out blogs, we should be pumping out useful information because that's what it's based on. That's the premise of Google. Um, so creating mass produced content at scale. Now, what I will caveat that with saying, and I was on with Serene Lim, who owns Jelly and Cut 49, who has grown this multi-million-dollar business. She's 28, she's phenomenal. Again, look her up if you can. I was on with her yesterday, and we were talking about the leveling of the playing field, which is what I'm all about. Like I love to level the playing field and give everyone opportunity. And she said, yeah, but fast forward a year's time, isn't it just going to level the playing field? Everyone's going, and yes, in a year's time. If I think about people like Jane Liu from Showpo, they used SEO to their advantage. They had a first mover advantage. This year is the space for first mover advantage. If I think about you guys at Manifest.ai, you've got first mover advantage. You're not the first chatbot in the world, but
Yeah.
you're the first one to do the things and be able to prove out the technology from a conversion rate point of view, from a personalization point of view. That first mover advantage is the biggest opportunity. So SEO and email. And then look, I think there are other platforms emerging. I mean, we know that, social media platforms like TikTok, but again, it's using the AI to help you produce the content. But we've got platforms like Perplexity emerging. Now, Perplexity have just launched their own shopping platform, which again is similar to Shop You. So if you haven't checked that out, I would go and have a look at their Shop Pro. It's currently only available in the US.
Yeah.
Not available yet in Australia. I'm hoping it will come here soon. But essentially, what Shop Pro does is, I'm going off a little bit of a tangent here. I hope you don't mind. What Shop Pro does is it allows you to do that natural language personalized shopping. So I can go in and go, I need a red dress for a 50-year-old birthday party on a boat, and it understands the nuances in Australia, and the temperature is going to be this. It understands all of those things, what's appropriate, and it will give me back red dresses that are available in stock in my size.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between that and a Google is, as we know, when you go to Google, you get a billion results. But what I love about Perplexity is not only is it, really personalized to my natural language, but it's also organic. It's not paid. And that is a game changer.
Exactly. And a different result will come to different people. It's not the same result who's putting the highest bid on black dress is going to come to each one of us. It's going to be different to each one of us depending upon what prompt we have put there. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. Absolutely, Ellie. Last question from Patricia. She's representing the company called Cohora. How AI will impact the e-commerce in 2025?
So much. Again, there's going to be a first mover advantage. I think we're going to see some emerging small to medium businesses, and I'm working with some of them who are going to take over
Yeah.
because they're using AI to their absolute advantage. I
Yeah.
think we will see smaller, leaner teams having the power of the larger teams because they have AI at there. So whereas before I could put up maybe a candle and someone down the road could put up a candle, and we're just kind of competing on brand, and we're competing on messaging, and we're competing on founder story. I can't compete with those massive organizations on content creation. I can't compete on eyeballs.
Yeah.
I now have the ability to do that. I now have all the toolkits to be able to compete with the massive organizations. Again, coming back to Manifest AI, if you go back 2 years ago, that was $1 million implementation for a big organization. And they've got to now, me as a small business with 3 people in my team, for instance, can put in a tool like that and start to use it, and it's profitable and it makes me money. So I think that's one of the biggest changes we'll see, this access to technology that is allowing the smart small to medium retailers to accelerate very, very quickly. That's probably number one. The second big change I think we'll see in the e-commerce space is there's a lot going on in the US with TikTok, obviously. There's a lot going on, across social media. And Thank you, Jane. There's a lot going on with cost of acquisition. Cost of acquisition's going through the roof. We can't prove, like, the attribution model is absolutely screwed at the moment. I can't 100% tell you whether you made money from this or this. Like, it's all over the show. I think that will change this year, and I think one of the changes will be as we start to use AI to acquire customers and we start to focus on building our own databases, the cost of acquisition will go down. We'll be less reliant on social media acquisition or just the platform acquisition. We'll still use them, but I think we'll become more intelligent. So let me give you a really quick example, not wanting to take up too much time, but one thing we're doing at the moment is we're taking all of our Google ads data, we're taking our Facebook ads data, we're putting it into AI, and we're analyzing that data for customer insights, for attribution, for keywords, and we're starting to get some really interesting
Yeah.
views of the truth.
Yeah.
I'll give you a really, again, really, really quick example. A retailer we're working with, we analyze some of their data. We realize actually there's some stuff that they're targeting the wrong customer. But on a surface level, when we go into the reporting tool, which is Meta or Google, you can't see that. But when we pulled the data out and analyzed it, we could see that we were actually targeting the wrong customer, which is why our acquisition costs were so high. So now we've gone back in, we've reset the rules, and our acquisition cost is coming down.
Wow, this is super interesting, super, super interesting, and unimaginable use cases that you can, and ways you can get help with AI, in any e-commerce use case that you can think of, from analyzing data to implementing, basically improving your acquisition cost, or even if it's about, running your e-commerce business with more efficiency. And like Sam Altman says, like there will be a lot of billion-dollar companies with just one person in the team. So it's going to be year of efficiency, and it's going to double down. I would say 2025 is going to just be the start of deploying AI agents, but after that, you're going to see unimaginable progress beyond that. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
One
I
thing,
think I,
yeah, sure.
yeah.
Please go ahead.
No, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they said, I can't remember who it was, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He said there's the businesses in the next 1 to 5 years, there's the businesses that employ AI, and then there's everyone else which will not be in business.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Absolutely. That's the truth of life for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you won't believe, Kelly, like from things, even for things like we are a startup and we have to send investor updates as well. Most of my graphs, most of
That hurts my
my
soul just hearing that word, investor updates. Oh.
I use literally ChatGPT. I just feed in our data and tell ChatGPT, give me beautiful looking graphs. I love pastel colors, so please use pastel in the graphs and give that out. And it delivers such beautiful graphs to me. So definitely, there are multiple use cases that we can go on discussing on and on, but AI is there for us now.
Can I just give you a tip? Try Claude for that one as well.
Oh,
Claude is
okay.
much more beautiful when it comes to creating graphs and reports. Give that one a go,
Done,
just for
done.
comparison.
Thanks for that.
No
This is
worries.
amazing. And one last question from my side is one piece of advice, Kelly, to all these aspiring women out here who are trying to either, climb the corporate ladder or, try to pursue entrepreneurship. What are like few piece of advice for them from your side, Kelly?
Um, this one actually makes me emotional because I work with a lot of females, and one of the common traits, and I'm not stereotyping in any way, is that we don't back ourselves. Um, that we don't know or appreciate the amount of power we have and the amount of knowledge and insight and information we have and how valuable we are. And I have done a lot of work on myself and on that in the last couple of years. And don't get me wrong, I have moments that getting on this, I was like, oh my God, what can I say? What value can I add? You know, and I think, Naomi Simpson once said to me, if you jump on a call or you're speaking to a room, if you can add value to one person, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. But I think extending beyond that is, I often sit in a room full of middle-aged white men, for want of a better word. And in previous years, I would have felt very intimidated. I would have felt um, very insecure about what I brought to the table. I would have fought my corner. I would have tried to prove my worth, my value. And actually, in proving my worth and value, I did myself more harm because I came out very aggressive. And actually, what I've learned over the last year is I don't need to prove my worth or value. I can just be. And that's enough. It's more than enough.
Yeah.
And if it's not enough for the person I'm sat with, then that's okay. I'm sat with the wrong person. So for me, this piece of empowerment, knowing, educate. So I've got a little tattoo on my arm, which I don't know if you can see it. It's like someone called it a fast forward sign. And I was like, it actually is a fast forward sign, which makes sense. It stands for education, empowerment, and equality. And for me, it's about educating ourselves, but then just sitting in that place of power and knowing that we have the knowledge. And that's not just women, it's men as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest shift mindset for me that's happened in the last couple of years.
This is so beautiful, but this is not easy to come, Kelly, because
No.
a lot of women, almost all of us, go through certain, and we call it as imposter syndrome. We always think of
Mm,
us as not as good as we are, and always keep, I would say, devaluing us in terms of what we can achieve, what we are contributing to the company, to the society. So it's not an easy mindset to come, would sit with you sometime and, would take tips on this. But thank you so much for sharing this today.
no worries. And thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Kelly, and everyone who joined us today. This was such an amazing, I think it was the best 1 hour spent of my life of this year, I would say. But amazing. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining in and such an amazing insights. I would love to send, I will create a meeting minutes of all of these insights and share with each one of us who have joined us today. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining in.
And I just want to quickly say, Amy put a message in. I feel you, Amy. We've all been there. I still go there sometimes, not as much as I used to, but yeah. Thanks for sharing. Thank you. It's
Thank you.
lovely to be here. I'm going to go get my coffee.
Yeah, take care.